Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Jewelry with Jen, and I'm Jen. And if you're new to my channel, welcome aboard and thank you so much for tuning in today. If you are wondering how to make a little bit more advanced necklace that combines chain with some connectors and beading wire, this is the video for you. So we're going to be doing a little bit more of an advanced technique jewelry necklace project today. So welcome aboard if you're new, and welcome back if you're returning. And if you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, please hit that subscribe button now. And if you like this video at the end, please hit the like. And please feel free to leave me comments. You might have some questions as we go through this technique. I'd love to hear from you. Add some comments if there's something that I can explain a little better or break it down. Happy to answer any questions you guys have. Also wondering what you guys are going to think about what we're going to do today. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into what we are doing today. So as I said, this is going to be a techniques video on stringing a necklace using beading wire with connectors and chain. We're not going to do a full. Let's go ahead and just jump in. I went ahead and strung out a design that I thought was really kind of cool. Now, I hope you can see. As you can tell, my link connectors are not even. And I thought that would be so cool. I'm hoping it turns out nice. We're going to see. But this is not symmetrical. And it's intentional because I thought, gosh, this is so beautiful for Thanksgiving and this holiday season. And gosh, wouldn't that be so cool to do something a little bit more snazzy and kind of like catchy. So that's why I put these, and I hope I've laid my beads out in the correct length. So the wreath connectors, they're at different lengths. And then as you can see, the beads, the design is a little different. Up here, I have a small run, and then I have a longer run here. And then we're going to be finishing it with chain at the top on both sides, but it'll be a different size chain on each side. So we're going to get through that. So that's all I've done is basically lay out my design. The one other thing I did was I went ahead on the first link connector here. I went ahead and just grabbed my chain. I saw where I ended here, and I laid my chain out and cut it at the 9 because I know that I want an 18-inch length. So starting here, I laid my chain down flat to where the top of this connector ends, and then went ahead and cut my chain. So that's all I have done, is simply put my chain on the first link. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our wire and the bead stopper. And I basically cut a pretty significant length. It looks like I cut about a 20-inch length. Now, the reason I did that is because as you can see the way I have this designed, I'm going to be using wire here and then another separate piece of wire for this top section over here. So I just cut up a 20-inch length. We'll see if I can get both of my runs into this section, or I'll cut more if not. So we've done this part so far, right? We've added the top link on our chain, and now the next step is we're gonna put the bead stopper on the wire, and let's go ahead and start stringing our beads. And I'm just gonna start at the top and string right along in the order that I have my beads laid out. So now that we're done stringing the first part of our beads, we need to connect that to this link. Okay, so I'm gonna put my bead stopper on the other end, so those beads I just strung don't fling off. And now what we're gonna do to connect this link onto this chain, this bead, this wire, we need to grab a couple of things. We need to, first, we're gonna feed on a crimp bead. So I'm gonna feed on a crimp bead. And then I need a wire guardian. And they have a hole on either side and a horseshoe on the top, right? So we feed the wire up one side of the horseshoe, down the other side, down, and into the hole, and then go ahead and pull it up. Grab your tail, and now we're going to put a jump ring on. And we're going to let that jump ring slide down onto that horseshoe. And let me pick this up and show you what we have. Okay, so you see that? We have our wire around the horseshoe and we slid the jump ring on. So that's what you have there. Now we're going to grab that tail once again, and we're going to go ahead and feed it through our crimp bead or tube, whichever you're using. Feed it through the tail. Grab one or two, whatever you prefer, of your first beads, and feed that on. And then we're going to just go ahead and push it up. Now grab your 2 fingers around your wire guardian, and you're going to pinch it together. Okay, like that. And now we're going to go ahead and grab our crimping tool, and let's crimp that bead there. Grab a crimp cover, and let's cover up that crimp bead. Oops. And then grab your chain nose or any pliers that you have that work for you, bent nose, chain nose, flat nose. You can even use your crimper. Sometimes I'll even grab my crimper and show you. And you're just gonna gently squeeze that crimp cover together. Even the crimper tool works. You just wanna do it gently and then kind of squeeze it from the top to the bottom until you get that crimp cover closed, and it's gonna look like a bead there. And now grab that first or second bead. I'm grabbing 2. I'm going to pull them up, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut that part of my tail. Okay, so I'm holding it up at my finishing I just did there, and I'm going to cut that tail off. Okay, now grab your full string of beads and let them pull them down. And now let's move our our bead stopper all the way to the end, just like that. You see how I did that? So now at my finished end here, all of my beads are nice and snug. Okay? Now let's grab our bent nose and chain nose pliers. We're gonna open up our jump ring and attach that component, that connector. So go ahead and open up your jump ring. Grab your component, slide it on the jump ring, and close up the jump ring. And let's see if what I thought would work did. We are going to literally find out together because I'm wanting to make sure it's facing the right way. Let me lay it down. Ah! Well, look at that, you guys. That is awesome. It's perfect. Just exactly what I had in my head. Came out in real time, and I could not be happier. So I'm super excited. That is so cool. So this is now what I have. Let me grab the end of my chain and show you. So this is now what we have. Look how cool this is. So even though that, let me show you my connector. You see how the round loop on the connector, this one is flat and goes this way, and the one on the bottom goes the opposite. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but because we did not attach it directly to our wire guardian, we threw a jump ring in there. It's going to lay perfectly flat on the body, just like I wanted it to. So there we go. So that worked out beautifully. Now we are going to do exactly what we just did here at this end, because now it's time to connect the other connector and then string our next set. Very gently manipulating the top and the bottom until you get that nice and closed, perfectly where you want it to be, where it looks like a little bead. You just definitely don't be too aggressive or fast with it, because you'll squish your bead, your crimp cover bead, and it'll mess it up. So I can go ahead and feed a couple, like we did over there, my first 2 beads over that tail, and now I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that tail. And now, same thing on the other side. Let's push all those down so we can remove our bead stopper. Oh, no, we can't, because we've just forgot, just that quick, I forgot to connect it. So, my bad. So now we're going to go and grab our bent nose pliers and our chain nose. Let's open up that jump ring and connect it to our connector. And then close your jump ring up. So now, because I didn't show you over here, because I'd already started this before I turned the video on, so we'll grab our chain, and then we're going to go ahead and cut our chain. So what you're going to do is grab your chain and lay it down, and make sure that the first link of your chain is directly on that very last bead. And then you're going to want to lay it right in the divot of your bead board. And if you're using a mat against a ruler, it's the same concept. You're just on a mat. You just want to make sure that the link of that first link of that chain is right directly on that last bead. So we know our measuring is going to be correct, because we want an 18-inch. Okay, and then make sure it's flat, which it is. And grab your cutters. Oops, I moved it again. Grab your cutters, and then if you want an 18 like I do, you're going to go ahead and cut the link right at the 9. Okay, I think I'm just about where I need to be. Okay, very good. And there we go. Let me pull that up and show you. So now that's what we have, right? We had our crimp bead, crimp cover, our wire guardian, and our chain. And now, all we have to do is go ahead and put a clasp on. Now, at this juncture, if you want to make sure that you're at your desired length, you can do that. I'm pretty confident myself that I'm at 18. I might be a little bit longer, because, you know, the wire guardians, I've used so many of them, they're gonna definitely add some length. So you might want to go ahead and double check that your length is where you want it to be now that you've got everything connected. Also, I used a couple of jump rings. So that's probably going to give me another 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch that I might not want if I really being picky, right? And I have to have an 18-inch. I have to have a 20-inch or 22. Okay, so now we're ready to add our clasp. So go ahead and grab the right side of your necklace. And we're going to go ahead and put a jump ring. So get your bent nose pliers if you've got some. Otherwise, your chain nose or flat nose will work as well. Grab your jump ring, and let's go ahead and open that up. And we're going to feed first our necklace on, and then we add our clasp. Okay? And then I'll grab my chain nose pliers and close my jump ring up, which just ought to be fun because this is magnetic. Oh, boy. Okay, let's see here. Where was I at? Oh, yeah. Just want to make sure it's nice and flush. Perfect. Now we'll grab our other jump ring. Again, 6mm jump rings. We open it up. We're going to go ahead and grab our chain. Find the last link. Feed it on our jump ring. And then grab our clasp. I have to turn it around. And I dropped it, as you could see. So we first put our chain on, last link of our chain, and then we're going to grab our clasp and go ahead and feed that on your jump ring and close your jump ring up. Make sure it's nice and flush and perfectly closed. And voila. And we are done. And that's what we made. Let me grab my mannequin. And let's see what we just did. This is beautiful necklace. Let me push this to the side, guys, and let's see what we just did. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this. Look how pretty this is. This is exactly the way it's gonna hang on the neck. Oh my goodness. And again, remember how over here we added a jump ring only on the top? Over here, we did not add one here, but we added one on this side. So I could have absolutely eliminated that jump ring because that was the first one we did. So we actually strung it this way. I added that jump ring. I could have absolutely put that connector right to that wire guardian, but you know what? It's fine. I don't care that there's two jump rings here and one jump ring. It doesn't matter because it kind of loses itself in the design of the necklace, right? It's just, and because this gold bead is the center, this is exactly how it's gonna look. And look at how beautiful that is. That is really gorgeous. I hope you guys like that. So yeah, we ran about 45 minutes on this video, guys. So I hope that you guys really enjoyed that. And I had fun. I had fun actually going along and making that necklace with you guys because they're a little bit more complicated, right? And we used a lot of different components there. And, you know, we did a lot of connecting and cutting and connecting and cutting. So it's not your typical necklace. It's really a specific technique. But as you saw, it really isn't that difficult. It's just time consuming. So I hope you guys enjoyed that and you learned something. And I hope that you find inspiration here to go create something fun and beautiful of your own. So let me know again in the comments of what you thought about this video and if it helped you and my design. This would be my project 1 out of this month's bead box. So that was fun to get 2 birds and 1 stone there. And again, if you liked the video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, like, and let me know. And if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you would love to see future videos from me, please go ahead and hit that notification button. So thank you so much for joining me today, guys. And until next time, friends, be well.